Well, that's the OBE. It stands for an officer in the most excellent order of the British Empire. The appointment was because of services to Ssafa in Greater London. Well, I'm a volunteer for Ssafa, but at the moment, having matured somewhat, I'm the branch president. So everybody else does the work. I smile and thank them. Well, Ssafa stands for Soldiers, Sailors and Airmen's Families Association, and it's been going for 125 years. We look after serving and ex-service men and women and their families. So, for whatever reason they're in distress, we're there to help them. Help with housing, bills if they're in difficulty, sort out schooling, any problem that a family has, or a homeless ex-serviceman, we're there to help. Usually it's somebody that knows them. Very rarely do they approach us themselves. It's a problem if we don't know about them, how can we help? So we do rely on people, particularly the local council. We've let Bromley Council know that we exist, and if they realise somebody needs help and they know he's ex-service, then they come to us. But however we hear about them, either from a neighbour, council, a friend, sometimes from the local branch of the Royal British Legion, because they know we only exist for welfare and casework. So we get in touch with them, always within 24 hours if we can, arrange to meet them and take it from there. If somebody's got behind, say with the gas bill, as soon as we hear about it, we get straight on to the energy company and tell them we're seeing to it. And immediately, and this never fails, they say, right, we'll put everything on hold until we hear from you. So the family isn't cut off, we pay the gas bill, and then we sort out the family's finances. Clearly we're designed for the British services, but we are all-inclusive, and there was an occasion when a lady had been put forward for help, and the caseworker went to see her. And because we need to get the statistics right, we need to know what service they were in, if possible, some evidence, an army number, some photographs, medals. But this lady had nothing. She just said that her husband had been a pilot during the war, and she needed help, so we gave it. About a fortnight later, a small package arrived in the post with a covering note from the lady saying that she'd found her husband's pilot's log, and she enclosed it because we'd been asking about it. And when we looked at it, there on the front cover, Luftwaffe.
So he'd actually been a German pilot.
He had, but apart from laughing our socks off, we did approach the German embassy, and they of course had a good laugh. We'd spent about £400. They wrote out a cheque straight away for the £400 and then added 600 as a donation to Ssafa.
Oh, what a wonderful story. Have you got a military background yourself?
Well, like most people of my age, men, we started off as national servicemen. I was called up in 1951 and 2 years full-time national service, followed by 3.5 years territorial service. That 5.5 years was compulsory for us all. but I quite liked it in the Territorial Army, so
Well-
I stayed in. I knew about Ssafa. We were invited to donate a day's pay each year. The honorary colonel of one of the regiments I was in, and he lived in Bromley. And when I finally retired from the Territorial Army, he said to me, what was I going to do with all this spare time I would have? Being a man of duty, I did as I was told and volunteered for Ssafa.
Do you have to have a service background to be a volunteer?
No. At one time, I would say the majority were ex-service. But now, because there isn't a compulsory conscription or service, many of our volunteers are just pleasant people who stepped forward. And of course they give as much or as little time as they can spare. Some really revel in it.
Bromley. What would you say to people about volunteering? Why should they get involved? What do you get out of it?
Well, first of all, you belong to a group of people who are like-minded. They're all pleasant people. They offer something, they're not just taking. And the longer you're in this role, the more you realise how much you're needed. The state can only do so much. Neighbours do help, but they keep to themselves. They don't want to pry. And numerous people and families are left just short of something. The volunteers can step in and fill that gap. And we manage to do it unobtrusively, and that's its own reward.